Hey, as I'm editing this class that I did in Artel, I kind of realized I never said I would make the pamphlet that I gave everyone downloadable. So in the description, there's a download code to the pamphlet and the booklet that I gave everyone, and it's just a really good guide on how to achieve some of your goals on social media and outside social media. So if you want, feel free to click that link to get the download and enjoy the class. If you have any questions, make sure to comment, ask me the questions. I will get back to you. And if you like the channel, subscribe. Well, thanks for coming out early. I think I have like an hour-ish, so hopefully I don't go like too fast and blaze through it in like 5 minutes. But so I think a good place to start is what is social media. I think if we have a better understanding of what it actually is, it'll be like help us hit the next step of our goals and what we want from social media and how we can use it. Anyone have any ideas like what social media is?
A platform for an audience? No, that doesn't make sense.
I know
That sounded fine.
it's a little early in the morning. I know.
Like a platform for anyone basically who wants to get their work out there.
Target market, like your
Exactly.
like your hair or someone's food or
Yeah.
someone else is doing something and they're just like focusing it on
Yeah.
the same thing.
So yeah, that word like target market, that's perfect because we're going to go through that in our book later, which is super cool. But I think first and foremost, social media is a marketing cash cow for big companies. It's a way for them to make money. So it's a marketing. I'm doing this part for the people watching on YouTube. Marketing platform. And then, so how do the big companies make money from marketing? Like, how is it like a marketing beast?
Do they get to advertising between posts?
Yeah, they sell advertising. Spelled wrong, but whatever.
They have like those like influencers being affiliated ads or whatever you call those.
Yeah. So that's how companies or individuals can make money off of there too. But like the marketing platforms in themselves, I don't think they use influence, but definitely like companies like Coca-Cola or whatever. Yeah, they definitely have. But even we can have influencers, which is really cool. If you guys want to like find some hair models that is your ideal client that you guys want, we can line it up with Eliza to have them in and do their hair, and then like trade for some posts and some social. So it's a good idea to find people with a small following as well. Do we know it's called the big three? Do we know the big three platforms in social? So there's Instagram, Insta, which is owned by Facebook, and they also own WhatsApp, which I think our demographic and our culture really just uses it for kind of group messaging, but I know around the world it's much more of like things can go viral on WhatsApp. And so another one is YouTube, which is owned by Google. And then, yeah, Twitter, totally. I'll write it down. It's not in the big three for me. What else? Snapchat. Yeah, I think you might have kind of disappeared. Maybe like some demographics use it. LinkedIn is huge. And I think massively underutilized. Do we know who owns LinkedIn? Microsoft. So Facebook, Google, Microsoft, giant companies with tons of money, making so much money off their marketing platform that we all use. And so if we can figure out how to use these tools to the best of our abilities, we can use it to like market ourselves and hit our goals. Kind of makes sense at this point. Any kind of questions? Well, I'm going to erase this. Those companies, Facebook, Google, and LinkedIn, they make their money by people, lots of people, spending as much time as possible on the platform. So people plus time equals money for them. The formula is the exact same for all of us. The more time people spend on our posts, on our page, the longer, or like, the better, like the faster you're gonna reach your goals. And so I think like my argument, leaf blower. My argument is you don't necessarily need that 10,000 followers, the 100,000 followers. You just need a couple people spending as much time as possible on your posts. And so do we have any ideas kind of how we can encourage people to spend lots of time on our posts? Or yeah, so multiple photos. Do we know how many photos? Do we know how many photos you can have on Instagram in a row? 10. And that's a newer thing. It used to be like when they first released multiple photos, it was 3. And so the way the algorithm works, everyone talks about the algorithm, they really do track who's using what new features. And so they know if you post 1 or 2 photos, and they know if you post 10 photos. So the trick is like, try to like create some posts and some content that use 10 photos. And so that's gonna take some planning, but it's gonna work. And then the next is, so beyond posting just 10 photos is how to get people to actually go all the way through. So I think some ways we can do that. I think the best way is probably education. Yeah, exactly. And so under education, your clients could be, or like your target market could either be your actual clients. So things you could do, yeah, like hot tips, or like 10 tips to keep your blonde looking fresh in between. You can come up with like a list on your own, right, of things. And in that way, not only do those people spend more time on your feed, they also in their heads think of you as kind of like the guide or the guru, and they start to build that trust with you. Even if they're not your client and they come across it, they're like, oh, like Orla had some amazing tips on there, which is really cool. And then they'll follow and kind of get that engagement. But even like Instagram stories, they're always posting new effects and new, like, use them, try them, see what works for you, see what doesn't work for you. But we're definitely beyond the days of like post a pretty photo and get followers. Like, I don't know about like all of you, but like I know every time I post, I lose followers because they're like, people were like, oh yeah, I forgot I followed him, unfollow. So it's really like discouraging, super discouraging. But I hope today is encouraging because I definitely have stories on like I just needed to meet one person and find that like right person, either through hashtags or engaging with them. So not only do you want your followers or potential followers to spend a lot of time on your page, you kind of want to spend a lot of time on your ideal target market's page and comment with like thoughtful, relevant comments and build an online friendship or business relationship with somebody, and over time that can really blossom to loyal clients. and the right clients. So yeah, and then YouTube, like I run our YouTube page. We don't do, I don't think any of you individually do too much, but if you want to, like definitely hit me up. I kind of have that ability. And then the other one was LinkedIn. So I definitely think LinkedIn, especially for hairstylists, is massively underused. Now, it's not the prettiest platform, and it's not, you don't get that like hit of dopamine of like scrolling and being like, oh, pretty photo, and like, or funny meme. Like, it's a place where people go for business, but there's a lot of business women on there, and they have probably that income level, and they need to remain professional. And so even on LinkedIn, you can do an educational post of like how to make your hair look best on Zoom. You know, it's relevant to now. It's gonna probably get some traction over there, whereas like content on Instagram is gonna be different than, you can still do like a thing on Zoom and stuff on your Instagram, but definitely LinkedIn, like that's the demographic. The majority of like the booklet I made is kind of how to create the goals to help you get the most out of social media. So I don't really have any like 5 tips on how to get 10,000 followers. So I guess my story with, I'll just erase this. Yes, please.
I've tried a few times to post videos and I find the quality gets really low.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you can?
Yeah, so like I can help look at your phone. So I would say first off, in your phone, make sure it's at the highest video settings possible. I think out of the box, it probably comes somewhere in the middle. But so you can raise the quality or lower the quality. So at least start with the highest quality. And then I think you would have to be on Wi-Fi. I think if you're on data, there may be a setting in your phone, or it may like automatically downgrade the quality of the video. So those would be my 2 tips. Definitely each platform, well, actually that's not true, but they will, especially Instagram, kind of downgrade a little bit in order to enable it to play the fastest, especially Instagram, everyone's just kind of scrolling on their phones. They may be on the bus, they may not be near Wi-Fi.
Is it like, can you get good quality on a cell phone, or do you have to use?
Oh yeah, you can absolutely get.
All these people posting all these awesome videos, and I try to post a video, and I'm like,
I would love to see the videos of like kind of what you're interested in, because I can like help with that. What I do with like our videos that we make, like the stylist videos and all of that, like I film it on my professional cameras, and then I put it on Google Drive, and then we upload it like from Google Drive, or you could email it to yourself or something. But filming on the iPhone, yeah, you can get amazing stuff off the iPhone. So maybe like one of my next classes can be like iPhone photo class or iPhone video class, where this is like the pre-stages to that. And I think with a firm understanding on how to maximize your success on social media. Okay. Sorry, Liza's just telling me how much time we have left in the class. Yeah, no, I can absolutely help with that. So I think one of my favorite stories of how social media has really worked for me is I know my target demographic for me to get business in life is actually teaming up with video producers, because they have the clients that I want. And so my now business partner, Chris, who I share the creative office with, where all of you got your headshots done, we met on Instagram. And over the last 3 years that I've known him, he's probably sent me over $50,000 worth of business. So I don't need that 10,000 followers. I don't need all the engagement. I don't need all that. I need to find one video producer. You know, I need to find a couple video producers, strike a relationship up with them, you know, leave relevant and thoughtful comments on them, strike up that relationship. And the other day I met one off Instagram and we had coffee and it was like, oh sweet, now I have a new connection that could actually lead to business. And same thing, I hire video people all the time because when I'm taking photos, it's easy for me to pitch to my clients, oh, like while we're doing this, do you guys want to do some video? Or I'll have clients all the time ask me, oh, do you know a good video person? And so I can be like, oh, like for this client, that video guy's the best. Or if that video guy's not available, I'll use this video guy. So it's a really like great relationship. And now we're actually, like me and Chris are like super good friends. So really try not to be discouraged with however many followers you have, how many likes you get. All of that like is a good like ego boost, but it's kind of, we don't like, I would love to encourage people to kind of get over that finding your self-worth and affirmation off of that engagement, because the algorithm is there only to make the big companies money. And so we have to kind of use that to our advantage. And so with this little booklet I kind of created yesterday, it's going to help us find those few people that we need in order to help our businesses grow. But like all of you, like I've seen like since being at Artel, like all of the feeds have kind of improved and kind of look cohesive and like they look amazing. So it's just like, how can we monetize from kind of what we're doing? Yeah.
Speaking of cohesiveness, I've been kind of thinking on my page I want to, I don't want to say filter because I feel like that changes the look of every color that I do, but
Yeah.
something that, like I noticed some of my friends that are at different salons do it and their pages look so pretty, and then mine always look, the lighting will be a little different in this one, a little different in that one, and
Yeah.
I would love a way to do it without like changing it too much.
Totally.
Just to make it look more nice.
Cohesive and find a style that kind of works
Or
with
you
you.
use like an app where there's like apps where you can upload it first, so you can like see how it looks like before you upload it. You should do that. That's what I do. Then you can like move them around and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll show you the app.
And then can you do like change the coloring too?
Yes.
Okay.
You can change everything, and then like maybe you don't want to post that photo now. Maybe you want to wait.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
play around with it first in the app.
Yeah, and there's multiple different layout apps, and
Do you have a good one you suggest?
off the top of my head, no, but we could totally help find you one. Also, just because I don't use one, what I do is kind of this technique in the booklet, and I just kind of find the people I want to meet and get to know, and interact with them. So that's me kind of either searching hashtags from the Explore page. Like I know, like I said, my ideal clientele or my ideal connection from social media is a video producer in Vancouver who's doing, budgets of like $10,000 ish per video for clients. So that's probably going to be like pretty high end corporate videos and that kind of thing. So it's pretty easy for me to search Vancouver filmmaker and then see who's working on Arterix versus who's doing whatever cool Instagram videos and doesn't actually have those clients. So I guess let's jump over to the booklet. And like I said, this isn't the fun tag word cool side of Instagram, but it's how I've grown my business. It's how Eliza's grown her business. So the first page is something every single marketing agency uses and does. It takes a lot of time. You may need multiple drafts. So it's called a client avatar or ideal avatar. But basically, you want to create an image of who your ideal client is. So not necessarily like who you kind of have. You can base it off maybe like if you have one or two ideal clients right now, you can kind of be like, oh, like these people, like what age are they? So we can kind of go through all these things like age, gender, marital status, location, and all of this kind of stuff will help with how you use hashtags. Even even using hashtags, like I saw a YouTube video the other day of like why hashtags are bad, and then there's the next video why hashtags are good, and that's why I don't like get too caught up on like how to like beat the algorithm, because no one actually knows what the algorithm is. But if we can like lock all these, and you know who your person is, and then it's just like, if your ideal person's not a realtor, like it doesn't matter if all the realtors follow you, because it's just, they don't matter to you. You know, and your ideal client's going to be different than your ideal client, different than the next person's ideal client. And so you really want to try to like visualize in detail as much as possible who this person is. You can even give this person a name, and you just like pinpoint on this person. So even like, so occupation. So I was even thinking about you the other day, because I did your video last, so you're kind of fresh in my mind. But you came from the finance background. So that's like a lingo you already have, like the verbiage that they use. So I feel you could talk to a mortgage broker better than I could. You also have the knowledge, the connection there. It's like an instant icebreaker. So just for fun, let's say your ideal client's a mortgage broker. And then you also love doing highlights, like up to the root. So you probably know an age demographic of who typically gets highlights to the roots, and is totally fine with coming in on like the regular 8-week kind of cycle. So we can kind of like off the top of our heads say a 45-year-old mortgage broker. Do they live in North Van? Do they live in East Van? Do they live in Hastings Sunrise? Like if you know they live in Hastings Sunrise, like I'm assuming there's only 20,000 Hastings Sunrise tags. So there's not even that much to go through. So you can kind of go through and like find people quite easily, and then just like follow them, comment on their stuff, and just, but make sure it's like a good comment, not like, sweet. like we were kind of done with that anyway. Yeah, we got this now anyway, so yeah, I am over it. I'm over it. My writing stinks anyway. So not only occupation, but like job title. So like, are they the COO? Are they the accountant? Are they like, who is your like ideal person? What education they have, and then you know what hair type? What are their hair goals? What are their hair challenges? Shopping, so favorite brands, like same thing, be specific. Like, do they like Abercrombie and Fitch, or do they like Dolce & Gabbana, or do they like Louis Vuitton, or are they like Nike sneaker people? Like those demographics are so, the people who shop at LV and then the people who shop at Foot Locker, different people, and you can have either of them as like amazing clients, but we need to know exactly who they are so we can find those people. And same thing, grocery store. Like, do they shop at No Frills or Whole Foods? You know, like we have a Whole Foods across the street here, and then a No Frills across the street there. Walmart. Yeah, Walmart. But yeah, is that who you want as your ideal client? I don't care where you shop. But then yeah, on this page, I encourage you to be like hyper specific. So under blogs, like I know you were talking about you like fashion and architecture. So don't put like architecture blogs. Like what architecture blogs? What are those people tagging? How are research? Yeah. So type it into your tags. There's also a bunch of different kind of tag tools depending on what platform. So for YouTube, I use one called TubeBuddy, and then it tells me on the side of the video what those people are tagging. So I kind of know what those people are tagging, but that's YouTube. But there's different, I'm sure there's an Instagram one, I'm sure, I know that there's Google tag kind of thing, so you can kind of see what people are searching. Like for Google and on our Google ads, I know more people search ombre than balayage. Like very similar things, but it's going to be more valuable for our time to kind of put ombre Vancouver or like ombre specialist or whatever. And I know, Olaplex searches better than B3 because the clients know the name Olaplex. So just like things like that. And so you want to know like specifically what blogs. Like I know I follow a page called Complex because I like street fashion, I like cool sneakers, cool denim, and so Complex is the way to go. And then they just created a Complex Canada. So then I've been talking with Complex Canada because they only have thousands of followers, not, I think the regular Complex probably has like 1 million followers plus. So go through this. Do they listen to podcasts? What podcasts do they listen? I personally watch my podcasts on YouTube. So it's just like you need to know as much detail about your ideal person, and then you can actually start to find them. So yeah, we kind of don't go through that right now. So then I think the next step is find, like another way is to find people in your related industries. So for all of us in this room as hairstylists, a nail tech. But like, do you want a nail tech that's like a hole in the wall? Or do you want like someone who does like high-end nails? And so follow those people, same thing, comment on them, but also like, go see them. Find a nail tech you like, see them regularly. Next thing you know, you're talking, you're like, oh, what? We got the same clientele. How crazy is this? Like, and start sending your clients to them, and they're gonna be like, oh my goodness, Megan sent me 3 clients. Like, I just met this chick, Megan, she's awesome. And so like, you can create that relationship, and you can find that relationship starting on social. So another one's like, for you guys in your related industries, eyelashes, eyebrow tattooing. That's probably not the proper, someone help. Microblading. But like even tattoo artists and like
Waxing.
Botox and yeah, waxing. And so even like, and you know this is the thing because like if I steal Eliza's phone and I go through her Explore page is wildly different than mine because the algorithm knows my avatar and who I am. So if you go through my thing, it's all skateboarding, sneaker fashion, and photography. Eliza's is, yeah, I get microblading, I get, some plastic surgery, and just because that's her demographic. Even though she doesn't have any plastic, she doesn't have any plastic surgery, but that's her demographic. And so the big companies trying to make money are like, what's going to keep Eliza here longer? And so that's what they do. So list as many as you can there and just try to find your related industry. Again, I'm going to pick on you because, so if we go back to mortgage brokers, my friend owns an appraisal company. So they go out and appraise houses for sale. And they were telling me last week their biggest clientele are not actually people getting their house appraised. Their biggest clientele is mortgage brokers. So instead of you going necessarily on Instagram and finding a couple mortgage brokers, go in there and find a house appraisal company because they know 100 mortgage brokers. And that's kind of how you can get that ball rolling. So that's the second step is who are your avatars related industries? So I'm just making this up, but let's say your avatar was the mortgage broker. Who's their related industries? So who knows 100 mortgage brokers? It's going to be realtors. It's going to be the appraisal companies, the banks. And so you can kind of use that. So instead of working super duper hard to find the one mortgage broker. And so for me, the filmmakers aren't necessarily where like the people who are hiring me, but their clients hire me. So I just need one filmmaker and then he sends me all his clients. And then, the filmmakers, they only need 1 or 2 good photographers because then I can send them all their business. So that way it's kind of like that shortcut. So you want to find your related industries and then your avatars related industries.
What would that be like? Or industry?
So for your industry or the avatars industry?
Avatar.
Avatar. So you kind of have to make your avatar first. So,
Yeah, so like the nail technician and someone often, is it?
pardon?
Is it like, so, say it's like the nail tech, then
Yeah.
someone off the nail tech is our avatar? No.
No, your avatar
Oh,
would
your
be like your
ideal
ideal client.
Yeah.
Yours is like in their 20s, wants to be really blonde, has money to pay for it, that type of thing.
Yeah, and like potentially your avatar is also Irish because there's like a connection there, or potentially.
Yeah, they all are.
Oh, yeah.
90%.
Every part comes up in our township.
So maybe your avatar works at Aritzia or Lululemon. So you want to get in with one of those girls, because then once you gain her trust and you do an amazing job making her super blonde, she's gonna, like, all her friends are gonna see it, but also all their clients are gonna see it, especially if they're an Aritzia person on the floor, because the people who shop at Aritzia, like, you're gonna have, although right now with COVID, I guess there's not as much like in shopping, but a lot of people's gonna see that girl's hair. So you want, maybe to be more specific, you want the floor manager at Aritzia, or you want the, someone who, I guess, because in the office, then all the office girls could come see you, but like maybe, like the floor manager at Aritzia, or something. And where is Aritzia? Where is Lululemon? It's on Robson Street. So now you know. So on Instagram, you can go to the Explore page, and instead of searching hashtag, you can search location. So you can even just search Aritzia Robson and see who's tagging what at Aritzia Robson, or who's tagging what on Robson Street, and find people, oh, this may be my avatar, and like follow. And but I do, like, word of caution, like my least favorite thing, and LinkedIn's the worst for it, is people follow me and then 30 seconds later I get a message, hey, I think we would be good at business, let's meet up. And it's so distasteful, and I get probably 3 a day. So make sure, like, you're just commenting, like, oh, like, whatever in the photo, I like this, really good job, or, and then keep commenting. Maybe not every single post, don't be like annoying, but then get a little back and forth, and then be like, oh, like, why don't we grab a coffee, or whatever. But it could be like a 6-month process to kind of create that online relationship. But the worst thing you can do is spam people. It's such a turnoff. So it's leaving like really relevant comments, and hopefully they kind of return that, and they're like, they see, oh, Hair by Orla Walsh, like, it becomes a name, and you're in their head, and you're top of mind. So. And then you guys all have beautiful work on your Instagram, so then they'll just see it. And then even if it's just like their friends looking for a new hairstyle, saying, oh, this chick Orla followed me and she has great work. You know, like, you may not even meet that person, but because you've been creating a real friendship on there, that's gonna pass through. So yeah, your related industries, and then your avatar's related industry. Then these are just tools. They're not like you have to do step 1, step 2, but like really, like, if you want to just focus on your related industries, and you're looking for a new nail tech anyway, or you're looking to get your eyebrows done, like, really, like, just do that. These are just like a list of tools that I've used in my career. Okay, so the next one, and I actually did kind of want the board for this one, so I'm going to set up the board. This is why this is nice. We can cut. I'll cut the video. Maybe I'll make a video of the thing going down, and that's how I'll go viral. How much time do we have left?
25 minutes.
Okay. Okay, so finding your niche kind of is going to go a little bit hand in hand with your ideal, your avatar. Lost the pens again. Okay, so yeah, finding your niche is going to go super hand in hand with finding your avatar, because the content you create should help keep your ideal avatar on your page longer. And then your ideal avatar is going to be interested in kind of what you're posting. So it's kind of like this intertwined thing. So you kind of like want to list your passions, and then your skills, and then whatever's in the middle, like, that's really what you want to do. So just kind of making this up, like, Eliza is a coffee fanatic. She loves third wave coffee in particular. If you don't know what third wave is, then you're probably not in that demographic. But then she's also, her skill is balayage. She's amazing at balayage. So maybe Eliza starts a podcast called Coffee and Balayage, where she interviews and talks balayage with the top industry people on balayage. Now, who's the ideal client for that? It's going to be other hairstylists, and creating that online following, because Eliza does teaching. And then the snowball starts to roll, because, like, I'm assuming all of you would like to watch a cool YouTube or podcast on, you know, Eliza sitting down with Guy Tang and talking hair. Like, it could be cool. Or I think the perfect example, so if we do, like Jerry Seinfeld, one of my favorites, I think, so he loves vintage cars. He has it's known he has one of the sickest vintage cars collections. He loves crappy coffee from old diners. And he's a comedian. And I think probably the most successful one ever. So he created a Netflix show, comedians in cars drinking coffee. And it's a great show. He picks up Seth Rogen in whatever vintage Ferrari. They drive around talking, making jokes, and then they go get coffee. That is so niche. And so same thing, to keep people on your page longer, Instagram is so overflooded with pretty hair, pretty hair, pretty hair, pretty hair, or for me, cool photos of mountains, cool photos of camera gear, and it's just that hit of dopamine. So I actually don't know if you guys are sure, but it's a hormone in our brain that studies have shown reacts very similar to heroin. And so we see something we like, and we're like, oh, sweet, I like that. But we're getting so desensitized to this dopamine drip that it's harder to get dopamine. So that's why we just sit there scrolling. And I don't even if you know or catch yourself doing it, but I'll be watching TV, I'll have my phone, and I'll be scrolling, so I'm like, oh, and then I'll pick up my iPad. And and it's what's happening is I'm looking for dopamine. Unconsciously. But you want that hit of oh, that was cool, and it's kind of satisfying. So kind of that's how dopamine works. So we kind of want to sidestep dopamine and provide our clients with value that will keep them there longer. So I've talked about education a lot. Again, I'll just say it again, how to keep your blonde fresh in between, your appointments. And what I would do is get a notepad and just jot 10 ideas down of how you could educate people. Another way I would say to kind of break up your feed and kind of catch people off guard, and I know I don't do this enough, and just following you guys, I know you guys don't do it enough, is posting photos of yourself. Your clients like you. You're good at hair, sure, but they actually like you. And so,
3 times the likes.
yeah, so if you have a business page, you can get the analytics for your posts and that kind of thing. And you can see in the last year, what are your top photos? I would say at least 50% of my top photos are photos of me. It's because I post one and I say something funny, and people they really engage with it. Excuse me. They really engage with it because they like you. And so some ideas are introducing yourself. Maybe once a month, introduce yourself to new followers, or talk about a challenge you've overcome, and do an actual description. Don't just post selfie Sunday and just no much description. Go into it and be here's something I learned at work today, or here's a new technique I learned to keep you blonde longer, or you're into camping and you're doing your van, talk about your van, and be I'm doing this project, and then you're going to get clients coming in being oh my goodness, how's your project going? I keep looking forward to updates. And one of my favorite stories is one day, Eliza and I finally got a day off, and we were sitting in the coffee shop, and we came up with this idea for a skit called Gina. And Gina is the rogue salon assistant. And we just thought it was hilarious. But it was just funny, and we just did it. And it was Eliza playing Gina. And all her clients freaked out over it. She still gets people being when's the next Gina video? What it did is it kept people on her page longer. They loved it. So, yeah, everyone wants more Gina. So go on her page, find Gina. It's in the highlights. And so Eliza's I wouldn't say one of her passions is being goofy, but she is goofy. And she needs to be authentically that in real life, and then authentically that on social. So if she's all the time just serious on social, it's not who she is. And she's going to attract people who like that. And then if you're super serious, or just using Guy Tang as an example, we all know him, he makes crazy music videos, and he does some crazy things, but people love him for him. But then if they want somebody more serious, they're going to go see somebody more serious. So you got to find the people who love and appreciate you, your passions, and your skills. And that's going to create like deeper, longer lasting relationships with clients. Any kind of questions on, this is called a Venn diagram, right? On the Venn diagram? Yeah. No? We're kind of good?
Confused on how their passion and their skills are going to mesh together.
And it could be like obscure, and it's almost better if it's obscure, like coffee and balayage or something, because everyone's posting pretty photos now. Like, I don't want to like say it, but like we were one of the first salons in Vancouver to get a ring light. Now every salon has a ring light, and like honestly, it all blends together. So how are you sticking out? So I'm just gonna pick on you again, but like, so I heard your boyfriend wants to kind of start some like YouTube, and like I'm so pumped on that.
Yes.
You've told me he loves sneakers.
Yes.
So where do sneakers and cooking? Hey, actually, what?
He loves that show, so he likes sneakers, cooking, and carbs. That's his
Right.
favorite thing.
So where?
That looks like cock back here.
Oh. Cooking. I'm sure there's a YouTube or like some video out there for that. Not my jam. But like off the top of my head, he could do shoe reviews for standing in the kitchen all day. I just made that up. It's random, but it would involve cooking and sneakers. So almost the more obscure, the better. And so don't worry if they don't relate. Like same thing, like you were talking architecture. So how, I don't know what that middle portion would be, but something like or like you bike to work every day. So you could do education on how to keep your hair fresh when you bike to work. Like some tools you can carry in your backpack that are small, and you can quickly fix your hair in the bathroom or something, which then would, people like, I bike to work, oh, she's just like me, I'm gonna come in here, and oh, by the way, I need to buy those tools you were talking about. Like, almost the more obscure, the better, because everyone now has the ring light photo with a beautiful balayage. Like we gotta push those boundaries, I think, to stand out, to keep people on our page longer, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, any further questions on like how this kind of overlap? And like, yeah, your passion's the van, like rock that van. Like I think, yeah. Manifest the van first, but like get the van, somehow weave it in to your hair passion. Somehow. Like I just think it could work. Or
So are you saying like when we do our posts, like include those photos on our page so that people aren't so, because like I know I'm bored looking at my own page.
heck yeah. Absolutely.
It's not like when I look at other hairdressers' pages, the ones that I normally follow are like people I work with, and then the ones that I personally enjoy watching are like videos where I'm learning something.
Yeah.
There's this
That's like
fella
normally what I watch.
back in Ireland, and he could like come out with anything on his hair page, but like he's the one you look up first because he's like, oh, I wonder what he's doing today.
Yeah. Yeah. So really like find that niche, and like maybe right away don't do like every post has to be about my new van and how I'm converting it, or like how to do your hair while you're camping or whatever. But sprinkle it in and start seeing how it engages, and then adapt. Be like, oh, this worked really well, this didn't, and then kind of like adapt a little bit. But like make sure you're making your Instagram feed, like make sure you like it. Make sure you're stoked to do a new post. So like I actually have this like style of photography that does not relate to my avatar at all, but I've been kind of collecting these photos, and I'm gonna do like a section of 9 photos in one style because I think it's cool, and that's kind of what I want to do. If other people don't like it, then whatever, but I'm like, it's something I want to do. So make sure you find something you want to do, and I think it will kind of start to create some of that traction, especially with like utilizing the clients you already have and utilizing the followers you already have. So yeah, education, and then yeah, posting more about you, get your face on the feed. I don't think it's gonna be too like tired or played because you guys like don't post yourself that much. So I think every now and then sprinkling a photo in. If your whole feed becomes like, look at me, look at me, look at me, and it's like almost more of like you're the influencer. But if that's your avatar, if you're going back to your avatar and finding like, we'll get into some goal setting next, but maybe your client avatar is a brand and you want to be a brand ambassador, but you're not even on your feed. So it's just like, if you want to be like, oh, like I want to be a brand ambassador, your whole feed's going to need to be you, and you need to shift your whole game. And that's totally cool if that's what it is, which I think is a perfect segue to kind of what our goals are, because that's actually going to help. Okay, so Warren Buffett has a kind of famous, am I still in Framelize? Okay, Warren Buffett kind of has a pretty famous tool to help set goals. It's called the 5-25 rule. And basically, you write down 25 of your goals. And for this exercise, we will keep it within strictly work and growing us professionally, just because that's the setting we're in. But on a separate page or whatever, you can do your life goals, whether it's like to eat vegan or whatever. So, you know, some examples could be, I want my pre-booking to be up. I want 10,000 followers. I want 75% of my clientele to be balayage. Whatever the goals are, I want to earn this much. I want my retail sales to be X. Just like list them, brain dump, and there's no bad ideas. Maybe one of your goals is I want 6 weeks vacation a year. Maybe one of your goals is, although COVID again, but maybe one of your goals is I want to go to Italy. And like Eliza's literally helped some of the staff here at Canby Street to go on their first vacation. You know, like that can be a work goal, and do it. So the idea is to list 25 or more of goals that you have, then go through the list again, think on it, and circle your top 5, and then only focus on those 5 and forget the rest. And then once you achieve one, you can either up it or like slot one of the other ones in. And because what happens is like, there's all these things we should do. And like we should have our pre-booking higher. We should have 10,000 followers. We should. And we get like, we're grasping, and like this is also why our Instagram isn't growing, or our whatever is not growing, because we're so spread thin. But if you could focus on 5 or even less, like, and then everything you do needs to work towards one of those 5 goals. Every post you do needs to work to one of those goals. Every, you know, anything you do. I'm kind of running out of examples, but like everything you do needs to go to one of those 25 goals, and then you'll achieve it so much easier. And just worrying about the 5. Don't worry about the rest, because it's so overwhelming. I know for myself, it just gets so overwhelming. And on that note, like really try to eradicate the word should from I should have this, I should do this. Just focus on a couple things, you know, and like small things. Like if you're, you know, maybe one of your top ones is pre-booking, because that's one of the quickest ways to be fully booked is pre-booking. If you're at 3%, don't worry about making it 80%. Make it 15%. Make it, you know, that. So then from here, after you do your 5-25 and really think on it, I included 5 pages of this, one for each goal. It's called SMART goals. Have we heard of SMART goals before? So it's a way of making sure that our goals are, again, it's just another tool to help us achieve the goals. So the goal needs to be specific, not like, I want to be busier. Like that's so ambiguous. You're never actually going to get busier because you don't know what you're actually doing. So your goal would be, I want to be 33% pre-booking. And then, so is that specific? Yeah, 33% pre-booking, that's pretty specific. Is it measurable? Yes, it's 33% or it's 20%. It's like measurable. Is it achievable? So again, if you're at 3% pre-booking right now, and your goal is to be 99%, it's going to be hard to be achievable. So that's why, like, if you're at 3, make it 15%. Super achievable. And then you can break it down from there. How many people do I need to pre-book in the next 2 weeks for me to be able to hit that? It's like, oh, I only need like 2 people to pre-book to bring me up to that. So breaking it down into those bite-sized pieces, and then once you get on a roll, you feel comfortable at 15%, bump it to 25. Or if it's followers, if you like, you're at 500 followers right now, I want to get to 1,000. What do you got to do to get to 1,000? How many followers per post do I need to get? How many posts do I need to do to get those followers? What's working in the feed? What's keeping on people on my page longer? That kind of thing. Is it relevant? Is it going to bring you? So if it's irrelevant, is it going to bring you closer to one of those 5 goals from the 5-25 rule? If it doesn't, change. Like it needs to change. Something needs to change to make it relevant. Otherwise, it's not going to get you any closer to those 5 goals. Time. There needs to be a time on it. So not like I want to be 15% pre-booking. I want to be 80% pre-booking, but by when? Next month? 2 months from now? I kind of don't care what it is, but put a time on it, track it, break it down. So to hit your goal, then you can same thing, break it down. Like okay, like every day I need to pre-book 1 person. Every day I need to sell 2 shampoos. And you're gonna be like it's not that much of a difference to kind of get you there. And then you're in that flow and you can up it. So I literally just included 5 of the exact same page to kind of go over 5 of those goals. And then the next one was just notes, which I probably should have told you at the start of the little class here. So yeah, I think maybe kind of do a recap, and then we can do a little bit of questions. How much time do we have, Liz?
We have half an hour before the first class.
Perfect. I would like to definitely leave some time for people to actually get set up. So, recap. We want to make people spend as much time on our page as long as possible, and that's going to help us bring us towards our goals, whether that's a monetary goal, Instagram followers, kind of whatever equals your goal. But the content you're going to create to do that, content is going to come straight from your avatar. And so you really need to kind of figure out who your avatar is. Because the avatar is going to dictate the content, which is going to keep people on your page a lot longer. Another aspect to the content is your niche. And figuring out exactly what your niche is. So that's going to play in to the content you make as well. And all of that kind of plays in kind of to the goal. So I know this wasn't like the 5 tips to hit 10,000 followers or whatever, but it's real practical, gonna make you kind of hit your goals, which is why we spend so much time on social anyway, at like posting stuff. And we're not just doing it arbitrarily, we're trying to get something. So what are you trying to get? Really hone in on that. Besides just hits of dopamine, because I just do that all the time. And we can really use it as a tool. And so instead of just kind of throwing paint at the wall, like strategically.
And would you recommend, Rob, that someone should be posting like every day?
Yeah, and from what I hear, like everyone tries to like beat the algorithm. From what I hear, consistency is kind of like very important. And so it's going to be like the look of your feed, the content you're posting, yes, the time of day, and also depends the platform. Like, so Instagram, same thing. So if you have the business page, you can see like when people are mostly using Instagram. And so there's kind of 2 ways of thought. Like more people are on there, post at 3 p.m. at the end of the day because everyone is on coffee break and they're looking forward to the end of the day. They're scrolling more, but everyone's on there, so the Instagram feed's flooded. So maybe you try like posting at the lowest time when less people are on there, but you have a better chance of breaking through. So there's different strategies. No one's cracked the algorithm. The algorithm's always changing. But I think maybe for a YouTube channel where you actually have like a series of shows that people may look forward to, like for us, like we love RuPaul Drag Race, and right now we're watching the Canadian one, and it comes out every Thursday night. So Eliza and I know every Thursday night it's going to be there. But if RuPaul just dropped their thing randomly, it's not going to get much traction. So consistency, I think, is huge. But with Instagram, I think it is a little more of just trial and error, what's working for you. I know personally, I'm not like, oh my goodness, my favorite influencer's posting at 3 p.m. I want to go see what post they're posting. For me, it doesn't work that way. And the algorithm does bring back old photos now, where when Instagram started, it was very much a linear thing. It's not linear anymore. So I wouldn't get too hung up on like, it's 3 p.m., I got to post. But yeah, consistency goes beyond just what time you post. Create your feed to kind of like look the same kind of content. People can kind of know what to expect. You may want different pages. Maybe your niche is like hella crazy, and like it's actually nice having our portfolio. Like for you guys, it's easy to be like, oh, here's your portfolio, and it's a good way for people to check it out. But maybe you create a crazy niche thing. And you create a new page just for that like niche thing. That's an option too. Like I know we have a separate Instagram for our dog because my followers don't want to see my dog all the time. Maybe every now and then a photo of me and my dog, that's fine. Or I have a separate page for my black and white photography because I love black and white photography. I have no desire to necessarily get clients from it, but I'm like, it's what I want to do. And I have a kind of little community going there as well. But one of my favorite YouTubers, he loves magic tricks and he loves pirates. So he created an Instagram page it's called Pirate Pete's, I think. And like he got like 100,000 followers in a year because it's just like super dark and moody, pirates, magic tricks, rings, skulls, all that kind of thing. But it has nothing to do with his client work. So maybe I'll post a couple links in the YouTube video below of like Instagram tips and that kind of thing that I didn't get to talk about today. But an easy YouTube search, there's so many theories and tips and ideas. But like all that aside, you find your one avatar and it can be just like so fruitful. And so try not to get too hung up on followers and time of day. And I will definitely be teaching a camera class with you guys. Like maybe we could do a video one, we could do a photo one, and kind of making sure, our settings are kind of right on our phone and that kind of thing. Even like a one-on-one, like book me. Like just like Eliza books huddles with you guys, like book me. I'll come do a one-on-one with you guys, for sure. Text me or whatever, and I'll try to help. But these are techniques Eliza also has used in her career. So we have a video on SMART goals and kind of how to set goals as well on our YouTube page.
Yeah, I was confused on one of the SMART. What's measurable?
Measurable. So like, I want to pre-book more. I want to pre-book 80%. Like, yeah, specific goal, but the measurable, like the measure would be the 80%. Or like I want to run more, but like how far do you want to run? I want to run 5 kilometers, because right now I tap out at 2.
Or something like, it's always like, I want to be happier. How do you measure happiness?
Yeah.
Like, you need to figure out what, like, the specific measurement of the goal is. It's just, it doesn't have to be, like, a separate thing from specific. You just want to make sure that, like, whatever the goal is, you have the ability to measure. Something like happiness is really difficult. Like, that's
Yeah.
to quantify it, basically.
Yeah, so again, just,
You're cutting it into a smaller.
yeah. So just because I have the microphone. So like an example would be happiness. Like you can't really measure happiness. So do something that you can actually measure and track, whether it's lose weight or gain muscle or kind of whatever. Like you want to know, like I want my, so if it is happiness, like maybe you do 10 minutes of journaling 3 times a week, writing down 10 things that you're thankful for. So those things are measurable. You hit the goal. Those are my ankles, just in case anyone was.
So if my specific goal is I want balayage LA clients, my measurable is 80% of my day. I want to be that. What is achievable? Is my achievable?
Well, it depends. So where are you at right now? If you're at 1% balayage clients and you want to be 80% balayage clients, yeah. So if you're 75, hitting 80% is super achievable. I would say you could probably even get to 95. It's
What do I put for my achievable?
An extra time to do.
achievables, in my opinion, and like maybe Eliza could chip in. Achievable is just like a check mark. Is it? Yes or no? Like it's just like, yeah, it's achievable. Or being like right now, or if it's like how much you earn. I earn $6,000 in a month. I want to earn $70,000 in a month. Like maybe go from like 6 to 8, or like 6 to 7. Make sure it's achievable. So that one was just kind of a check mark. Like, yeah, it's achievable. And just being like realistic, achievable, realistic. I think maybe realistic might be a different appropriate word. Awesome.
Sorry.
No.
Is there any, because I think about posting, styling videos all the time. Like,
Yes.
it's one of my favorite things to do. That's what got me into hair. But my only thing is to take the video and then to edit it.
Yes.
So is there anything, and I have an iPhone, but I don't have a camera. Is there any like app or anything that you would use to like mash up videos and cut them?
Absolutely there is. I use Adobe Rush.
Okay.
Now, I pay for an Adobe subscription, and I'm not sure if Rush is free to everyone or
There's
just...
a free one that I tried, but like I was too nervous to post it. But
Yeah, and it's
I
good.
think it's called InShot. You can make videos.
InShot,
You can like clip
InShot?
them. InShot.
InShot.
Yes.
yeah.
You can like clip them and take stuff away and like speed up some parts and like
Yeah.
everything. And it's free.
Put like right to the video
Um,
in here too, I think, too, so like
You
your
can
phone.
put
Yeah.
filter on it.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's probably a bunch. Adobe Spark is another one that does video on the phone. I think it's just mostly like creating graphics and little things, but on the computer, adobespark.com or whatever, you can like upload your clips and make pretty cool videos. So InShot, and I know that there's others. I do most of mine on a computer, so I don't too much know, but absolutely there's apps to do it.
You can just Google like good apps for editing videos. Like
Yeah.
that's how I found this app.
Ex-
And then
Exactly.
Every time I download an app, it like there's always like it says that it's like free or whatever, and then there's all these like
In-
hoops to jump through.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which then I get annoyed and then I just delete it.
Annoyed and delete it, and you just got to remember, like, that's just how they make their money. So they're
Yeah.
those big companies making their money, and that's the
I would pay
hoops.
for one if I knew it was good.
Good. Yeah,
I
yeah.
would pay to like pay for it and it.
My friend, and same thing in YouTube. I'll post a link below the video. He specializes in teaching people mobile videos, and so I know he has an app that he recommends. So same thing. I'll try to find that.
Okay.
But like InShot sounds great as well.
Did you mention Quick?
Quick, yes, Quick.
Quick, that's what I use
All the time.
so easy.
QUIK, I think.
Yeah.
QUIK. It's actually the GoPro app, but you don't need a GoPro.
I want one though.
Yeah.
Imagine it just buzzing.
I also have, and like, so just for the people in this room, obviously not the YouTube people, but I have a GoPro, and like, if you ever have a client here and you want to do a tutorial, you want to do a tutorial on yourself, like, just ask to borrow the GoPro, and we can suction cup it to the mirror, or we can get a stand. Yeah, it's up for use. I definitely underutilize it. But then there's still that extra step of taking it from the memory card and figuring that process out. But yes, absolutely, mobile editing apps, they are there. I just don't know too much. But I use Quick or the Adobe Rush. Quick's actually really, really great. And they kind of, the machine learning kind of like looks at the video clip and makes assumptions of what's the best clip. And then you can go in and so it kind of like auto edits it for you, and then you can adjust it.
Cool.
And then there's also like royalty-free music on Quick that you can kind of use if you want to use music. Sweet. Any other questions? Awesome. Well,
I'd love to do another class though.
yeah.
I feel like I learned so much.
Good. That's awesome. But seriously, don't be afraid. Like I said, I just met another video producer last week or 2 weeks ago over coffee, and we met on Instagram. So like, don't hesitate too much to be like, oh man, like, well for me, it's like, oh man, I loved your work. I would love to meet up for coffee. Like it's kind of that simple. Just don't be too spammy.
And Rob, say if someone follows you, should you follow them?
That's like, that's,
I always do that.
I feel weird if I follow
Like
them.
it's their personal
Yeah.
page and then it's private and mine is all hair. Do
Yeah.
we follow them now?
that's your
I like them.
that's your discretion, you know? And like, even so if your goal is really to like grow, like I've even heard who you follow, the algorithm takes that into account. And like, so if I want people who, my page is a little crazier now, but let's say I take all these like outdoor adventure type photos and that was my whole page, I need to only follow other people who take outdoor adventure pages, because then the algorithm's going to know that's fully what I do and send people who want that to my page. But I follow, like I said, I follow skateboarding, then I follow camera gear, then I follow my friends. And that's why I'm just like, all day long we can worry about what the algorithm thinks. It's exhausting, where we can use these techniques to find the 1 or 2 people we need to actually like help us grow in real life. If your goal is to be a brand ambassador, social influencer, yeah, your strategy is going to have to change. It's not my goal though. So if it happens, really cool. But if you want to follow them, do it. If you feel weird, don't do it. Like, I had one person in my life be like, why didn't you follow me? And then he even got mad at Eliza. He's like, why didn't Eliza follow me? Why didn't your wife? And I was like, you're weird, dude. So don't worry if you don't follow them. I wouldn't worry about that. Is it going to bring it closer to one of your 5 goals?
I see like some of my friends, they like follow their clients and in their picture they tag their clients.
Yeah. As long as your page, you could tag your clients so they see it. Totally.
I always would tag my clients because then they can share that photo.
Yeah.
And then all their friends see it.
And then when
Yeah.
people go to their tag photos, they go
Yeah.
to
Yeah, like tagging a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
All the brands I use.
Exactly, because there's always the chance of getting a reshare.
What is the Kevin Murphy hashtag we should use? Because every time I try to do the love Kevin Murphy one,
We don't have that one anymore.
I know, so
That was
like-
just Kevin Murphy.
it's just Kevin Murphy. Just
Yeah.
hashtag Kevin
Yeah.
Murphy.
But there's even so many Kevin Murphys to tag.
There's so many, yeah.
But like Kevin Murphy. At the last class we did, they were like, tag love Kevin Murphy, and now that's like never like.
Never the
Oh,
thing.
It's not there anymore. It's weird.
I keep saying I should message Jen. I'm gonna message Jen.
Message Jen, yeah. But yeah, definitely, like, if you have the ability to tag your clients, if they have private and maybe they don't want that, that's up to them. But especially like Instagram stories, like you can't really reshare it unless they're tagged. So that's gonna be a client-to-client basis. If you're getting weird vibes that they don't want to be tagged or you don't know them that well, like, don't do it. But if you can, yeah, like tag it. More people are gonna see it for sure.
And in stories too, what I do a lot, because I don't love to just like cover my stories with words,
Yeah.
is I just will, I'll have like tons of tags in it, but I'll just make them the same color as the background, and I'll just like shrink them down to a little dot.
Yeah. So I'll maybe
You can have 15 tags on it and you don't even see that.
I'll repeat that just because of the microphone, and I do it too. A really good tip is to find a place on the image, like on Instagram stories, where it's like a solid color, and then match your text to that color, and you're able to hide a bunch of the words and that kind of thing, the tags and the ats in the image without it like cluttering the photo, and then that way people are able to reshare, but it doesn't clutter the photo up. So I do that all the time as well. So yeah, basically you want to use as many of the features the social platforms give you. So tagging, adding, some of the face filter features, all 10 slides. If they make it, if the social platforms put something in the platform to use, it's only so that people spend more time. So use it, try it, tag people, at people, DM people, do crazy face features, or the filters. Try it, and if it doesn't work, who cares? Especially on stories, it kind of goes away.
That's true.
And find out what works for you and your avatar, and then just hound that. All right, those are my tips. It's more of a goal tips than Instagram tips, but I think it should help. All right, thanks guys. There it is.